everyone, it's Eileen from Now There's a Crafty Idea, and welcome back if you're a subscriber, and welcome if you're a new subscriber. If you enjoy the content, then please do drop a like on my videos and put a message on for me. I love hearing from you, whether it's about what we've been doing or whether it's just to say hi. And it all helps with those algorithms, you know, YouTube's algorithms. So today I've decided to make a type of ephemera. Now this ephemera came to me when I was shopping at a vintage fair, and I came across these maps and I just absolutely loved them, so I bought them. And the maps are absolutely gorgeous. I think originally they were part of a whole book, but as you can see, they fold out and then you've got the map. And what I love about this is, if you look, you can see that each one of these is an individual piece of paper, and then the fabric, there's like a fabric gap in between. And that got me thinking, because I thought, well, that would make a lovely piece of ephemera for a book. And so I thought I'd played about with them, and I came up with, I'll show you, the first one I did is this one. And I put a cover on it, sorry, I couldn't think of the word there, and then inside, sorry, that goes that way, and inside you can see I've decorated each of the cards. Instead of it being a map, it's now a journaling spot. Some of them have got like a full decoration on, and some of them are just left for journaling, which I thought was really cute and I really liked it. And yeah, I really enjoyed doing the project, so I thought I will make some more. I used some vintage fabric on this one. Now this is quite a heavy, this is it's like an upholstery kind of fabric, and so it makes it a little bit thicker than I was hoping it to be, but it still fits nicely into like a big front pocket of a journal. So the second time I did it, I thought I'm going to make one using a quilting fabric, because quilting fabrics are quite thin, and you can see it has made quite a difference to the width. As you can see, you can just tell the difference to the width of them. And so this one, probably you're still going to have to put it into a you know, a big pocket, but it's still not going to take up that much room in your journal. So this one I made exactly the same way, using the same dimensions. And again, but on this one I put full, each page, each little bit has got its own decoration, so I didn't leave any completely blank on this. But you can see there's still plenty of room for journaling, and they're just really pretty. So I thought I would bring you along while I make my next one. Now that I can give you the measurements of these, because I've took them directly from the measurements of the actual one that I bought, and it is about 10 centimeters, and it's about 4 inches by, I'd say 6 3/4, which is 17 centimeters. So that's the basic size of that one. But the thing is, once you get your fabric, you can divide. All you've got to do is decide how many pieces you want. Now on this, the original, and on the two that I've made, I've used the same pattern. So it's got 5 and then double 10. So you need 10 pieces of paper. But really, you could make as many as you wanted. You could use, I'm just reaching over, you could use 4 pieces and just have it fold up so that it's even smaller, and that would fit into a general pocket. Or you could use you know, you could use 6 pieces. You could make them small, you could make them larger, you could do what you wanted really. In fact, I mean, if you wanted to, you could make a whole journal out of one long strip of fabric and have each of the pages be part of your map, which I think would be a really cute idea. So anyway, to save time, I've pre-made some of this. So basically what you need is, you need to take the measurement of your fabric. So your height, you want to divide that in 2, and then what I would do is I would leave about, I would say probably about 3 millimeters between each of your pieces. So if you're going to have 5, you want 5 times 3. So that would be 1.5 centimetres. So you want your fabric to be 1.5 centimetres longer than your paper that you're going to be using. And then you just count, if you want to have 5 pieces, you just divide the width by 5. So what that brought me to on this one, because I had to go, I only had so much of this fabric and I wanted it for an upcoming journal. So I had to go by the size of the fabric. So this one's going to measure, it's about 9 centimetres by 16 centimetres. Now, as I said, the size of it is your own. Once you've cut your pieces out, what I would do is I would just lay them all along and make sure they all fit. You want just a little gap, about between 2 and 3 millimetres between each one. So what I've done is I've already decorated my inside ones, because like I said, this can be a long process. So I've chosen a theme of mushrooms, and I've done a few of these with less decoration on, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to dot them throughout so that we've got a bit of a mixture, and that way, you know, you've got some of the plainer ones and some of the more highly decorated ones. Now you can play with whatever kind of, you know, like wherever you want to situate them. You can play with that a bit, and you can you know, you can decide what kind of configuration you want. You don't have to have these decorated. You could have 1 or 2 decorated and leave the rest blank, or you could just use it as a piece of ephemera with all of your favourite pictures on. They're just really great and really versatile. So as you can see on this one, I've gone a little bit mushroom themed, just a little bit. And yeah, so what I've done is I've got this lovely book, and it's obviously it's a mushroom book, and then I've got this stuff, and this stuff is called Gilding Flakes, and this is Red Blaze. So it's not quite, I've ripped the top off when I was moving it. It's not quite red gold, but it's got lots of different colours in, as you can see, and they're all very autumny, which I love, and it goes really well with the mushrooms. But as you can see on this, when I've laid them all out, they are actually all going to fit on with just the slight gap. Now the gap's important, because if you were to lay them up against each other, when you come to fold everything up, it's not going to fold and you're going to end up with curling edges. So you need the gap. So all I've done is I've took some old book paper, and I've took some images, I've done some stamping, I've cut the mushrooms out, and I'm going to show you the process, because I've still got the front cover and the back cover to decorate. I'm going to show you the whole process. But basically what I've done is I have done a nice collage. So on 5 of them I've done a nice collage, and on the other 5 I've just put a little bit of a mushroom, just a small mushroom, and then I've used the gilding paste with just a little bit of glue. I haven't used a gilding glue, I've just used my tacky glue, and just, you know, rubbed on a little bit of the Gilding Flakes, and it's given this lovely beautiful kind of effect. So what I'm going to do is, first of all I'm going to decorate the front cover and the back cover, and then I'm going to show you how I put the whole thing together. So because you're trying to keep this as flat as possible, you know, you don't want to add too much bulk, because as you can see on the original, it is literally just fabric and paper. There's no other bulk involved, and if you add any more bulk, then you've got to take into account that that's going to make the whole thing thicker. So the less bulk the better. So there are ways that we can get around that when we're decorating. There's lots of ways to decorate that that aren't going to add extra bulk, and the first way is with your inks. So I'm going to start off, because I want this to have kind of an aged effect, so I'm going to start off by aging up the edge. Now this is different to you know, to using this tool, because I want it to have that kind of, when a piece of paper starts to yellow, it yellows from the edge out and then it goes into the middle, where it's usually, you know, a lot lighter, and I want it to have that effect. because I want it to look like it's been sitting around for years, just like the maps that I bought. I was so lucky, I went to a local, it was like a vintage market that we've got, and it's not far from us, and you can find, it's one of those markets where it's got so many different curios and so many different things available that you never know what you're going to find there. And I was really lucky because there were a couple of great stalls there, and vintage stalls, and one of them had all sorts of maps and things on. And I mean, I love cartography. I've got a real love of old maps. I mean, it's silly, but one of the highlights of one of my holidays one year was to go and see the map of Monday, which, if you don't know, it's one of the oldest known maps of the world. And I loved it. I thought it's just, I'm fascinated, especially with the imagery that's used on old maps. You know, if they didn't know what was in a region, they'd just draw a dragon. And it wasn't that they knew there were dragons there, it was just because they didn't know what was there, so just draw a dragon, and that tells people, well, that could be dangerous. We don't know really. So I've given that nice aged look. So I don't know if you can see it very well on the camera, but it's kind of going darker on the outside to the inside. Now the next step is to actually use my dabber, and the reason for this is just to give it that extra edged look, and it also frames the whole piece up. It just adds to the age effect, I think, and that's what we're going for. We're going for that, you know, it's been sitting in a drawer somewhere for years until somebody's took it to a vintage market, and somebody's bought it. So yeah, it was great. And then there was this one woman, and she's got boxes of old photographs, and so the one box that I looked through, excuse me, it was really strange because you could see it was of one family, and you could see the family throughout the years, you know, all the different things that had happened to them, and all the different, you know, big occasions and things, when they got married, when the babies came along, holidays that went on. It was just like a biographical, like, kind of pic of everything that every big major important thing in the life that they've been through, which I thought was charming and at the same time sad, because, you know, it was charming to be able to see this this family, this little snap of this family, but at the same time it was sad to think that there was nobody left who wanted to care for those lovely images. So next thing I'm going to do, I want some script on these. So I've got my script stamp, and I'm going to do what I like to call like a ghost image, which means that I'm going to stamp off the first image because I don't want it dark. I want to be able to write over these, so you don't want a darkly stamped image. And then take off even more, and I'm going in different directions just to give it a little bit more of that kind of, you know, that kind of interest and kind of a nice style. So there we go. So there's that one done. And again, ghost image. So let's take the first one off. I'm not looking for a perfect stamp, which is, you know, I think sometimes perfect, it's just, you know, you don't want perfect, especially when it comes to junk journals. You want it to be kind of higgledy-piggledy, kind of as though it's just happened. And then once we've done that, so what I did with the other ones is I put a nice kind of border around it, because it's a bit of a woodland theme. I've got these little fern stamps, and they're off a set that I got from a magazine. So I'm just going to put these along the bottom because I want it to look like the, you know, the floor of the forest. And again, I'm not looking for perfect images. I just want it to look like, you know, you've gone for a walk through the forest. It's a kind of, adding a kind of a frame effect. Because that's what I'm going for, kind of a little frame around the bottom. And then I'm going to add, just stamp the rest of that and get my other one. Now I think it's almost the same stamp, but it's just going the other way, which adds a little bit of, you know, a little bit of difference, and that's what we're looking for. Like I said, I'm not looking for perfect. I'm not looking for a perfect image of the forest floor. I'm looking for a kind of an impression, if you get what I mean. Now I also wanted to add, I've got these little ivy ones as well. Now this is where your little stamps can come in handy, because very often you know, we do get those little stamps and you wonder, you know, how can I use them, because they are a little bit small for most things. But here we go, this is how we can use them, just to add a little bit of interest to the side of a piece of ephemera. And this is going to add the top of the frame, and I'm just going for that kind of higgledy-piggledy. You know, forests are not perfect, and we don't want them to be perfect, because that's part of the charm, isn't it, of the forest. And there we go, a little bit more there. And then my last piece that I want to use is just another little cluster of these leaves, and I'm just going to add them to, just to finish it off and bulk it out just a bit. There we go. And this is exactly how I prepared the other pages that are on the inside. So that's the stamping done. Now what I want to do is, I want to use, I've got a few papers. Now let's see which one of these that I want on the front. I think I like that one. So this is going to be my front cover, this is going to be the back cover. So we'll do the back cover first, because that is going to be very simple. All I want on the back cover is a mushroom, and I want a tall mushroom, I think. Am I going to have a big mushroom, or shall I do a smallish mushroom? Yeah, I might just do a smallish mushroom. And I'm just going to have a little bit of music paper with it. I don't want to do anything elaborate on the back, because it's supposed to be the back cover. So I don't want to do too much to it. So let's see, maybe, nope, or maybe that. And again, this is just another leaf stamp. So yeah, I think I like that. And like I say, I don't want to do too much to it, because you could still use it as journaling space as well. Right. I am distressing everything, because again, I want it to have that aged, distressed look. And because it is like forest themed, I also want it to have that kind of, you know, the forest isn't straight lines and white. It has that kind of distressed look all of its own. Especially at this time of year. I can't believe that the leaves are actually turning already, but yeah, they are. Right, I'm just going to glue that down, and then we can get on with the front cover. So yeah, it was great that the market was just wonderful. It's the first time I've been since before COVID, and yeah, it was really nice to finally get there. Put you over just a little bit and see the place again, and to see, you know, some of the traders that I used to know, they've gone, and I was expecting that, because not everybody could weather the storm that that we've been weathering. But I was surprised at how so many had actually managed to survive and were still trading, which was really nice. So that's my back cover. I didn't want anything too elaborate, and that's great. And I will put some gilding on it, but I'll do that all in one go. because it gets very messy. Right, now my front cover, I'm going to do a similar kind of composition, but obviously it's a front cover, so it's going to be a little bit more substantial, and that way, you know, it's going to proclaim itself, the front cover. So I've got this lovely big old mushroom, which is bigger than the other mushrooms I've used. I was so lucky that I managed to get this great mushroom book, and I've been sitting happy fussy cutting ever since. To get these, all I do to make these is I get a little bit of paper. Now on this one I've used some antique book page. As you can see, it's very delicate and it's quite old, and I just used an edge punch, which I've used for this one. I used my Martha Stewart. I don't know if it's got an actual name. No, anyway, you want any kind of edge punch, and you literally just punch down both sides and it gives you this lovely ribbon effect. That's nicely decorated, and I kind of like it. So it's nice to have. As you can see, this is very, very old. I'm not bothered if some of it crumbles, that's fine, but it gives you that nice kind of ribbon effect that it's nice to have a few of in your ephemera, because you don't know when you're going to use them. Oh, hold on, I want to do these. I'm just going to do these. I don't know which ones I'm going to use, but it's not going to hurt to give them that kind of distressed look anyway. And again, these are just an old book page that was blank, and I just got a few of my stamps, and I stamped them on using the acid-free Hobbycraft brown ink stamp pad, and because I'm going for the same or similar colours, all kind of autumny colours. I had thought about maybe using a little bit of orange, but no, I chose not to in the end. Right, okay, so we've got everything we need, so let's start putting things together. Now I definitely want these on. Do I want that underneath? I think I kind of do. I'm going to bring it down just a touch. There we go. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so let's get our first piece on. And of course, keeping these as flat as possible, you know, it makes it easier for when you're putting them all together as well. You could add, if you wanted to, you could add as much kind of dimension as you want, but when you come to put the piece together, it's going to be bulky. It's going to be very bulky. So there's the first piece. Let's get this music on now. So I hope everybody's okay. I hope everybody's doing well. My brother's doing really well. If anybody was remembered that I've had a good, well, we've had a month of kind of being on edge because my brother became ill, and we did think that we were going to lose him. He's actually doing great now, and he's actually got himself a new little job, and he's gone back to work against his wife's orders. But you know, it's keeping his mind off things, and he's well enough to go. So I think sometimes that's the best way to just get on with things, is just to get on with them. Right, where do we want you? Do I want you there? Yeah, I kind of like that. And then maybe, do we want you there? Yeah, I kind of like that. Okay, we'll do that. Right, you go on first. So yeah, he's getting himself pulled back together and things are returning to normal. It's amazing how quickly things return to normal after something like that, isn't it? But luckily, you know, luckily for him, he didn't need a long time to recover. He did really well, and we're all really happy. So yeah, I told him he was being a drama queen. It's funny because you know, if you didn't know that that was the kind of relationship we had, people would think I was being horrible. But we've always had that kind of jokey relationship with each other. You know, we enjoy that kind of that kind of fun, you know, taking the mickey out of each of the relationship, as we should. Right, now for the gilding. Now you've got to be very careful when you open these things, as I found out to my detriment, because it is incredibly light and it wants to escape. So, and it loves static, so see, I'm not going to breathe. I'm not going to breathe because it's going to go everywhere. It does give a lovely effect though. So all I do with this, and it's a really nice technique, decide where you want to put it. Now I'm going to put it on a few different places. I am sure that there are better glues for this that would help to put it on properly, and better techniques, but for the purposes of what I'm doing, this is just working for me. So all I'm doing is I'm just putting some glue down, and then with a different finger, not your gluey one, you just grab a little bit of the gilding and just pat it down. Now it doesn't want to stay. It will try and go everywhere, but it's a good fun thing to do, to try and get it to stick down and to manipulate it into place. And you do end up with little bits coming off, and then they want to stick elsewhere, and you will end up with gilded fingers. But you know, that's not such a bad thing. Gilded fingers, you can tell everybody you're rich. Right, I want to do this whole, and I want to come up beside that pumpkin. So let's see if I can coax a big piece out. The problem is as well that the pieces are not actually separated, so you might have 4 or 5 layers here, and you've got to try and get them off. Aha! Cool. I mean, I've gilded before using gilding sheets, but I've never done it using this stuff, and it is it's a whole different ball game. But like I said, it's always fun learning a new technique. Probably somebody has some advice that they can give me on what I'm doing wrong and how to do it right. Drop it down below in a comment if you know a better way of doing this. I'm just enjoying getting it everywhere, to be honest. And it doesn't bother me at all. And the good thing about the gilding is it adds that little bit of, you know, chic to the shabbiness without it adding any thickness at all, because it is literally, it's less than tissue thin. It literally is less than tissue thin. Now let's see if we can get you. You see, you think you've got 1 layer and you haven't, you've got 3 or 4. Now let's get you torn off, and you torn off. There we are. And like I said, you're going to get gilded. And try and just stick it on, but it doesn't always work. There we go. Right, do I want any more than that? I think I want a little bit just along the top of there, but just a little bit, not much. Just a thin line. And I think for that I'm going to use these little bits, which you will end up with lots of these little bits, because it inevitably just turns into, see, I'm gilding myself now, I'm using the wrong hand. There we are. I don't mind if it's bitty, that's quite nice. It just adds a little extra texture. There, I like that. Okay, now the only way I found of getting this stuff off is to literally just scrub it off with a piece of wet rag or one of your wipes. And getting the lid on, well, now that can be a whole new ball game. Oh boy, this stuff is fun. I've been trying to think of other projects I can use it for, and I've come up with a few ideas. Wow, there we go. I've got it. Gilding everywhere. Oh, I've just thought I need it for the back as well. Okay, so let's get it open again. Let's put some on the back. That's what you get for thinking that you've done it. Right, I think I'll put a nice long piece on here. You don't want to load a glue on, and the reason why I'm smushing the glue down is because if you have too much glue, it doesn't seem to want to work. I've got a feeling that this is going to come apart because I think there's more than one layer there. No? Okay. There we go. You can see it's got that beautiful kind of polished look to it, which is just gorgeous. There we go. Right, and I think I'll put another piece up here. I forget which finger I've been using for the glue, which is why I get myself in such a mess. See if we can get one piece. I think that's one piece. I mean, I've no doubt you're supposed to use a brush to brush this on with, but that's fine. It works okay with your finger. I suppose if you were using it on certain types of projects, you will need a brush to use it, but it works okay to do this with your finger. Right, okay, I like that. I'm going to leave that like that. Again, try and put this top on carefully without it going everywhere. Right, so that's the front cover and the back cover done. I'm just going to move some of this gilding stuff out of the way because it's everywhere. It's like when you're working with glitter. It's impossible not to have it everywhere. I was actually eating my tea last night and I went to pick up a piece of food and realised, oh, it's gilded. Even though I'd washed my hands and I didn't think that I'd got any on me. I must have had something on me. Right, now you can, if you want to, you can iron your fabric. I haven't been, and I'll be honest with you, because the glue actually irons it for you. And if you want to fray it, then make sure you cut it like a little bit extra so that you can fray it. I've literally just torn this one. It's just been, you know, I very rarely use scissors to cut my fabrics anyway. But yeah, so your next step, let me just get my pieces. Once you know what your composition is going to be, if I've picked these up properly, I've got them in the right order. Give it one last check. Give it one last check, because once you glue everything down, that's it. It stays where it is. Make sure you don't want to move anything about, and that you don't have anything that needs changing. So I'm just looking at the way my mushrooms are, and I think I want to swap that one to there, which I think I like. Yeah, I think that works out great. I think I want it that way. Now I'm sticking these on with tacky glue. You can use your fabric tack for this, and that's fine, but I've been doing mine with the tacky glue and it's been working fine. I'm probably running out of it, which means I'll probably have to refill halfway through this, because this is a thirsty project. You want to try and get as close to the edge as you can, because it's important that you get those edges glued down. You can always go back afterwards if you need to and glue down any edges that have come astray, but if you can get the glue as close to the edge, then you won't have as much of that to do. And it doesn't matter if it seeps out a little bit, it will just seep into the fabric. And you do want a good amount of glue on this, because you know you want the fabric to be really well adhered. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to refill my glues. And then position is the key, because once you start going with these, you want them to be as straight as possible, because if it's not straight and if it's not in the right position, I'm just going to check that with the top, yeah, that's fine, then all of them are going to be off. So make sure your position of your first one's good. Okay, now you can use a rule if you want. I'll be honest, I've been doing it by eye. If it's just a small correction, you can do that as your glue, but if you're going to be having a big correction, then you're going to need, you know, it's going to make the whole thing go out, and you don't want to do that. Now I'm just going to add a little bit more glue to this. And the reason I'm using these, if you didn't know, is because I am having a problem at the minute with my hands, because unfortunately I do have arthritis now, and it means that the bigger bottles, which are harder to squeeze, are just causing me too much bother. There we go. Right, okay. I think that should be enough to get me finished. Right, where's my cloth gone? Let's just get that wiped off. And this is the tacky glue that I use. It's very sticky, high tack glue. I get this from Amazon. It's safe and non-toxic, and it is for, you can use it for all sorts of different things. So yeah, it is used for doing fabrics as well. Let's see if I've put enough in there. Okay, next one. Just get all the bubbles to the top. Okay, oh, that's much better. And this is, like I said, this is a great versatile one, because you could do just 2 pieces of paper if you wanted, and just make it into a little fabric booklet, or even like an over the page trim, you know, which I'm going to do loads of different sizes and try, you know, lots of different options with it. But I love the idea of it. It's just a really nice way of creating a big piece of ephemera that is going to look great in your journal, and of course you can theme it. Now you can see I'm not leaving too much of a gap between there, but it's about, I'm going to say that's probably about 2 millimeters. Yeah, 2 millimeters. 2 to 3 millimeters is all you need, and that gives you enough room for the whole thing to fold properly, and it'll sit nicely. Whereas, like I said, if you try to glue it too close together, it's just going to fold over, and it's going to butt up against each other, and it won't fold flat, and then you'll just have like a really bulky piece of ephemera that doesn't work. Come on, come on, that's it, that's better. There we go. Yeah, like I said, it's strange to see that the leaves changing already. It feels like, you know, it's happened all of a sudden. We had such a lovely summer, and we have been very lucky with the summer, and then all of a sudden the leaves are changing, and yeah, as I said, make sure pay extra attention to those edges. Yes, autumn is here already. I think officially it's the end of September, the end of this month, and then it's officially autumn. But yeah, the leaves are going already. Temperatures dropped. We're supposed to be having a 2-week heat wave, so at the minute I don't see any heat wave happening here. And I know, oh, in America they've got that terrible hurricane. Is it Ida, I think? Oh, crikey. Yeah, it's causing havoc, isn't it? I think we're getting the back end of that, you know, because we do tend to get the back end of the hurricanes. And when I say the back end of a hurricane, I don't mean we get really bad winds and that. We do, it does get windy, but mostly it means rain. we get the rainy part of it. And that's what you end up getting. We get what Britain is famous for, rain. So as you can see, when I've put this one on, we're going to have just a little bit of a lip along the edge of the fabric. So the reason I'm doing the mushrooms and that is because my next project that I want to work on is to make a beautiful forest themed journal, and I've been inspired, I love the forest journals anyway, but I've been inspired by my sister because she made me the most gorgeous birthday present, and I'm going to do a video flip through of it so you can see. She made me a junk journal using one of my favourite artists, and oh, it's absolutely mind-blowingly stunning. And yeah, considering that I was the one that got her into junk journaling, she certainly has surpassed me. It's absolutely gorgeous. Now it's a good idea as you're gluing these down just to give the back a good press down as well. You can see here, you can see the glue. Don't worry, because as you can see here, it's disappeared. There we go. Now, instead of trying to reach across, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my fabric round, and it's just going to make life easier. I'm just going to take this jacket off because I'm getting warm. I've just been sitting talking about the bad weather and now I'm getting warm. Maybe it's the heat wave, maybe it's decided to come at last. I doubt it. Oh dear me. Well, the magpies have all fledged and gone off on their own. The pigeons have all fledged and gone off on their own, and the mums and dads are still just hanging about the garden, enjoying the the part of the year when they get to just fatten up for the winter. But yeah, they had a really good clutch this year, really good. I mean, we had lots of baby birds, which was lovely. Well, I think it was lovely. My husband just calls them noisy sods. He loves nature and he loves animals, but not at 5 o'clock in the morning when they're trying to wake you up. Yeah, 5 o'clock in the morning he's not so happy. I don't mind it, they don't bother me that much. But then I'm a heavy sleeper. As my mum used to say about me, I could fall asleep on a washing line in the middle of a hurricane, you know. And I could, I've got to say. Once I decide to go to sleep, it doesn't matter where I am, I'm gone. Which is really good because I know a friend of mine who's, we're both going through the menopause together, and she's having some terrible issues with her sleep. She's really struggling. Now you can see I'm trying to keep these as uniform as possible, because if you don't have them as uniform as possible, you're going to throw the whole piece out. Because the fabric can only give so much, so you want to keep having everything as uniform as possible. And what I think I might do, I might make a few of these and put them on the Etsy store, because I've got lots of lovely fabrics and ephemera to make them with, and yeah, they're a nice piece, and I might just pop them on the Etsy store. So at the minute I'm getting busy to make my next journal. I might make a few of these in between. I'm going to be doing an Etsy update anyway soon, because I've got lots of things ready. I have kind of neglected the Etsy store, I have, and I know I have. And well, you know, things have been going on. Now, you can see this one is going to be bigger than the other ones. I don't know how that's happened because the rest of them are all the same. Yeah, I have let that one slip through, so I'm literally just going to cut the side. I'm just going to give it a quick trim because otherwise it's not going to shut properly, and I don't want that one throwing the lot of them out. Okay, let's try it again. It's still slightly bigger, but I think we can get away with that. Yeah, we can. That's no problem. Right. Is that going to work? I'm just going to check it. Yeah, it's still going to work. It's going to be fine. No, you know what? I'm not happy. I'll have to reapply the glue, but I'd rather have it right than put it together and have the whole thing out. I thought I had measured them all exactly the same. Obviously one of them slipped through. And you know, these things happen. I'm just going to check the size of it again. Yes, we're fine. Let's reapply the glue. These things happen, you know, when you're measuring things out. Sometimes, you know, it's only literally a millimetre, which can happen so easily. I don't know how I haven't noticed it when I've had them all together, how I didn't notice it sticking out, but that's the way it goes, and that's fine. I caught it, I managed to change it before the glue became a problem. This is another reason why I prefer to use this glue than the Fabri-Tac, because I find the Fabri-Tac is just less forgiving than the high-tack. You've got less time to readjust things. Yeah, that's going to work, that's fine. Okay. And the high-tack, I think, is just as good for when it comes to fabric anyway. Plus it's not as expensive as the Fabri-Tac. It might be cheaper, maybe, I don't know, is it made in America? But it's expensive to buy in the UK, and the high-tack's just as good, I think. People get put off, I think, because it's white when it comes out, but it dries clear, and as I've shown you before, you can't see it on the back of the fabric once it's dry. It doesn't shine through. Okay, there we go. I'm just going to check the back of that because I'm aware that there is a crease. I want to make sure that crease is fine. There we go. There we are. And the last piece. And then we can decide which way it's going to fold and where we want our front and our back. Because for some reason these all want to fold different ways. The maps, I mean, I think I've got 4 of them. And I opened up all 4. We went to a cafe after the market and I wanted to have a good look at them because the maps are actually of a local area that we like to go walking in. I opened them all up and then I couldn't figure out how to get them to close. So it took us about 5 minutes to figure out because each one of them wanted to close a different way. Which was like, okay, let's just do everything different. Right, let's give that a nice press. There we are. Okay, now we've got all of our pieces on, and as you can see I do have a little edge at the top. You can cut that off if you want to. I've got a little bit of an edge down here. Again, you can trim that off if you want. I don't like trimming them off because I just think it looks nice and it kind of adds to that kind of shabby chic feel, but I think that looks gorgeous, all the different pages there. And yeah, I mean, you could do a whole journal if you had a nice long piece. I mean, you could get up to, I don't know, 20 pages on one of these things and then fold it, and then you could just give it a, you know what, let's do that in a future video. We'll make a journal using this technique and we'll see how it works. It'll be a kind of a journal. Now, Or would you want to just do that? You just want to do that. Okay, so I think I want this to be the front. I'm just going to get rid of a few of these strings. I don't mind some strings, but I don't want long strings. Right, and I'm going to give this, because when you're gluing onto fabric, it is porous and it is going to come through onto your mat. So you want to give your mat a good old scrub. This one needs, I'm going to take it in and I'm going to give it a good scrub in the sink, because you know, you think it's clean, and I do wash it between every single project and between every single video. It gets a really good scrub, but you know, it's a self-healing mat, which means by its nature it's got cracks and things. So I'm just going to put a piece of paper down to stop us from getting stuck to the wet. And we've got our front cover, which I'm going to pop on here, and it's exactly the same method, only you'll notice you've got less give in the fabric because it's folded now. So let's just give this a nice glue. You are going to use a lot more glue than you would normally use on a project on this, because when you're working with fabric with glue, it's just the way it goes. Fabric's thirsty, same as old paper is thirsty for glue. You know, fabric's very thirsty for glue. And again, I would say with this one, make sure you've got even more glue on, because this is the piece that's going to take the most battering. The front and the back cover are going to be the ones that take the most battering. So you want even more glue on these. Right, I'm just going to make sure it's going to sit straight. And this is a great way, if you've got a piece of fabric that you really love and you want to use it in a journal, and you want to kind of showcase it and make the best of it, this is a really great way of really highlighting that fabric and really making the best of it. You can see that gilding still coming off. I've got glue everywhere, so it's sticking all over us. Look, I'm gilded again. Now, because this is quite happy to sit like this, I'm going to put the back cover on here. Let me just check. Yeah, that's going to sit nice like that. Now, if you wanted to add a ribbon, so say, let's just get a bit of fabric because I don't have any ribbons to hand. So if you had, like, if you wanted to add a ribbon to this so that it tied closed, you know, it would be at this stage that you would add it. And you can do that, and they do look really pretty with the ribbon on. Personally, I'm not using the ribbon because I think once it's in a pocket it's going to stay closed anyway. So, but you would put the ribbon on first, so your ribbon would be glued on first, and then you would glue this over the top, and that would secure your ribbon, you know, so that you could then tie the whole thing shut. But like I said, I'm not really putting ribbons on these. It adds more bulk, and I don't think that, like I say, I don't think they need it once they're in the pocket, because they're going to sit nicely in a pocket and the pocket's going to contain them. If you were just using it like a journal, you know, like we've been talking about, then yeah, definitely put a ribbon on because you want to keep it closed. But yeah, I don't think you really need the ribbon on when you're using it as a piece of ephemera. Right, very last piece. Again, I'm using the edge of the fabric just to be my guide. I'm going to pay attention to the edges, and there we go, we've done. So let me just put this glue away now that everything's gilded, and I've got bits of bits of threads everywhere off that fabric. So that's the piece that we've made, and you can see it's got its back cover, which you could still journal on if you wanted to. As you can see there, that started to want to rise. So if you're making this yourself and you've got more time, spend a little bit more time holding things down when you're gluing them. I can go back and just re-glue the bits that want to lift. So there's the front cover, and then we just open up like this. If you wanted to, you could add more pages here. Now that's a personal choice. For me, I think the more pages you add, the more bulk you're going to get, and it's already, you know, it's not too bad. And then obviously when we open this up, we've got all these lovely pages inside, which I really do love this piece. I love the way it turned out. I love, you know, I love the original idea, the map itself, where I got the idea from. These old maps are just gorgeous, and you know, I'm so pleased that it's inspired a nice piece of ephemera for me. So let's close you that way. And it is a really pretty piece of ephemera. So what I would do now that it's finished, I would leave the whole thing open so that everything has a chance to glue down properly. But because I want to show you what it looks like in a pocket, I'm just quickly going to close this up. And so you always want that on the back and that on your front. Now I'm working on a journal, which I've been working on off camera, and I've got a pocket in the front, and as you can see, that's going to sit in there perfect, and it's not going to add too much bulk to your actual journal. And it's a really cute addition to your journal. You could even use this as a kind of a little travel journal, especially if you put the ribbon on, so that if you're going out for the day, instead of taking your whole journal, you just pick this out and you would take that with you, and then you could jot your notes on. As for internal pockets, I don't know if I've got many internal pockets in this yet. Let me find something. So yeah, that's an open pocket. So as you can see, it's still going to fit, and it's still going to look pretty. It's going to be a bit more bulky, which is why I would probably put it at the beginning or the end of your journal. But yeah, it's still going to be good. Let's put you back. Right. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope that you liked making, like watching me make it. If you did, please do drop a like, drop me a comment and tell me what you think. And we will do probably another video. I'm finding me words. We will do another video on this, and I'll show you like using different amounts of paper. So we'll do one that just fits over the page, which is just the 4 pieces of paper, and then we'll do some different, you know, some different configurations. I'm even going to probably do some little ones. Yeah, we'll play with it a bit, and that'll be on a later video. But I hope you enjoyed that. I've really enjoyed making them. They're so much fun, and yeah, they're a bit bulky, but you know, so what? They're so cute, and so much journaling space in one piece of ephemera. So yeah, take care everybody. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. So happy crafting. Bye.